Um, let's see. Uh, I assume you voted for Obama. Are you satisfied with his performance so far? I believe I know, but who knows? I believe not, but who knows? And if not, what's your main critique? I'm actually going to use this video, or this question, sorry, to springboard into something that I've really been thinking about lately. Yes, I did vote for Obama. And I guess I'll start this off by saying that the vote that I cast for Barack Obama in the last major national election here in the United States is the last vote that I will ever cast in a major national election. I've decided that I am no longer ever going to vote. And immediately, a bunch of people start to boo and hiss in the audience. How dare you? And trust me, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. I was raised in the same way that you were, that voting was the most sacred thing that you could do as an American, that taking part in the process is so important and so meaningful that you just have to do it, but I can't bring myself to do it anymore. And I'm going to tell you why. This is how I've come to look at voting. I actually came up with this analogy the other day while I was thinking about this, and I think it pretty much sums up how I feel. Voting in America is like going to a used car dealership. Okay, let's say you go to this used car lot, and for once, the car salesman is completely honest with you. You say, oh, how about that car over there? And he goes, that car has a blown transmission, a cracked head gasket, the engine seized up long ago for want of oil, all the hoses are rotted, all of the rims are bent because somebody drove it on, 4 flat tires, it's got a broken rear axle, pretty much everything major that could be wrong with the car. And you say, I'll take it. And you have it delivered to your house, and you park it off to the side of your driveway. And every 2 years, you grab the key to that car, and you go and sit in it, and put the key in the ignition, and turn that key expecting that car to start. That's what voting is like in this country. That's exactly how I feel about voting. Here in America, we have this illusion of choice. We're given this illusion that when we go to the ballot box, we're voting for this politician or this politician, and they're just at odds. And it's this huge deal because they're these diametrically opposed political parties. And the world is going to be such a different place because of which direction our votes go. And in actuality, nothing could be further from the truth. These parties have the same goals. These parties look out for the same people. And to give you a hint, it's not you and me. I was reading an article on Salon.com the other day, to give credit where it's due. I can't remember what the article was called. I think it was something like Why America Will Get Much Worse Before It Gets Worse. It was some real rosy title like that. And the author of this article says that, when people talk about class in this country, the differences between classes in this country, they tend to think of upper class, middle class, and lower class. And he contends, and I tend to agree with him, that those classes don't exist anymore in this country. But they've been replaced by 3 new classes. The classes are the business class, the political class, and the everybody else class. And interestingly enough, and to their great glee, the political class and the business class have the same goals. They're a symbiotic organism that exists only to feed themselves and to accumulate more and more and more and more. That's what they're about. And they work in this great, beautiful biological symbiosis to allow each other to do that at the expense of the everybody else class. And once you realize that, once you come to that realization, how do you possibly go and vote anymore? Once you realize that Democrat and Republican are 2 meaningless terms, once you realize that, for me, the reason I voted for Barack Obama was because, as cynical as I am, I allowed that feeling of hope to get to me. There's always been a little spot, on my heart, as hard and dried up as it is. There's always been a little spot on my heart that aches for the human condition and that wants so desperately for things to be right in the world and for people to be happy and for children to skip around with red balloons, and for things to be good, for people to be taken care of, for old people to not be this forgotten, segment of society, equality, all of these nice, rosy things. There's this little spot on my heart that aches for those things. And I guess it must have been the dichotomy, the immediate dichotomy between Barack Obama and George W. Bush, who I suffered 8 years through with everybody else in America. The fact that he wasn't, a mush-mouth mongoloid fucking retard, I think instantly got me in his corner. The fact that he had this way of speaking, this way of conveying this message of hope. And I knew, trust me, most of me knew that it was horseshit. Most of me knew that he was just a politician, and like every other politician, your first order of office when you take high office is to break 99% of your campaign promises. But I allowed that to creep in, and I voted for him, and I wanted to see him win, and I was happy when he won. But that happiness didn't last long. It didn't take long for my fears to be confirmed, that Obama was largely going to just continue the policies of his predecessors, and in a lot of ways expand upon those policies. So, yeah, that's my biggest critique of Obama, is that he isn't, and I don't think ever had any intention of doing what needs to be done in this country. And let's talk about what needs to be done in this country. Let's go back to that jalopy that I purchased. That jalopy, that fucked up car that I bought, that for some reason every 2 years I take that key out there and I say, this time it's going to be different. I know last time I sat down in it and it didn't fire up, but this time, 2 years later, it's going to be different. What's going to have to happen for that car to actually start? Okay, this is a car that is fucked up beyond belief. This is not something I could go down to the auto parts store and buy a hose and swap it out, or buy a new battery and trade in my old one and it's going to fire right up. This is a car that needs to be gutted. And I think a lot of people that are politically active in this country look at it like it's a car that needs a hose replacement, or needs, a new spark plug, or needs its air filter changed. They hyper-focus on one aspect of things, thinking that if we can just change this, that the car's going to fire up. And I've come to see America as a car that's so far from firing up that it needs to be gutted. You're going to have to pull the engine out. You're going to have to completely swap out the transmission. You're going to have to change every hose, rewire all of the electrical system. Brand new axle, brand new rims, brand new tires. You're going to have to overhaul this car. The car has to be completely gutted. That's how I feel about the American political system. I feel it's so far beyond a one or two thing fix. I feel like it needs to be gutted. And that lends itself to the hopeless and even worse, helpless feeling that I have as an American. So I don't know how to do that. Just like I wouldn't know how to overhaul a fucking car. I'd have no idea how to gut a vehicle, and put a new fucking engine in. I wouldn't even know where to begin. I don't have that aptitude. I also don't have the political aptitude to know how to gut a political system and fill it back up with parts that benefit the vast majority of people. I don't know how it's done. And it contributes to this hopelessness and this helplessness. And that was my biggest disappointment with Obama, is that he somehow, sparked a little bit of hope in me and did what I expected him to do. He pissed all over it.